Hello everyone, me again, and I am just staying at my parents' house in the northwest of England. It's called the Wirral, West Kirby to be specific, and it's by the coast, really close to Wales. I'll show you. Wales is just over the water, so I'm just outside now, and I wanted to do a little recording on the beach, but the tide's in, as I'll show you. So no es posible at the moment, you see, and that's Wales over there. Can't make it any bigger, sorry. It's really nice and calm. Really love the water. So I have to say, whenever I come up here, I feel very relaxed. It takes a few days, but I completely forget about work or any pressures of London, and the time goes quite slowly in a relaxed way. It's very nice with all the trees. So I'm going to stop now because somebody is listening to me. I'll do a recording on the last clip. There he goes. The last clip I did, because I was quite inspired by Neville Goddard's words, and I've just written down a few things on a piece of scrap paper to refer to. I don't know what I'm going to say, so I'll give you a little shot of the water first. Okay, that's it. Bye. So the tide's in at the moment, so I can't go down on the beach, but if you just look over there, that's Wales in the distance. There's somebody in their little dinghy or whatever it is, and over here is a little island called Hilbury Island, which you can walk to, and the tide comes in very quickly, so you have to be careful. People have drowned when they've gone at the wrong time. Some people who actually just went into the water, and a little doggy in there somewhere. And that's it, really. So over here, there's always lots of rabbits in those rabbit holes, but none at the moment. So that's a little, somebody doing some press ups, a little vignette or something of where I am right now. Hope you liked that. Be better if I could go down on the beach, but there you go. It's very nice and peaceful, very calm here. Hello, it's me again. I did try to record outside, but it was too distracting for me, having people walking behind me with their dogs all the time. So I came back to record in my mum and dad's garden, which is very nice, and I'll show you some of the flowers and plants when I record this and put the focus on the flowers, not on me. Unfortunately, I already did the clip and it was very good, and my mum came into the garden and I started asking her interview type questions about imagination, and that was good to see how somebody who's not into it thinks, but she was also quite open-minded about it. But I deleted it accidentally, so that's a shame, but won't do that again. But she did go on a bit too long at the end, so maybe it was for the best, I don't know. Anyway, I'll try and catch her again, but she knows now it's for YouTube, so it won't be so natural, maybe. When I was reading the talk that Neville Goddard gave on the law of assumption, the main thing that struck me was the quote from William Blake: "What seems to be is, to those to whom it seems to be." And the first thing that came into my mind was about people with strongly held opinions. And even if, it's not based on fact, it's a massive generalization or something, and you gently bring up something like that, but what about this? They often won't accept it at all if they have decided that's true in their mind. Because what seems to be is for those to whom it seems to be. And yeah, it just made me feel that it's very hard to change somebody's mind once they've made it up. And even if you present facts to them, they could see it as, they could see it in a sensitive way, thinking that you are undermining how they see themselves, which is not true. And sometimes I just want to say, but how do you know? When I know it's just opinion based on nothing. But I'm very wary of saying that, especially to women, actually. And not all women are sensitive. I am sensitive. But I'm able to have these kind of factual discussions and arguments, not really arguments, but, you know, with men a lot easier, because they don't seem to be that bothered if you say, but what about this, what about that, and really get into it. It's an opportunity for them to defend what they believe and bring in why they believe it. Maybe I'm just comparing that to conversations I've had in the workplace, at school, with teaching assistants who will sometimes say things, not all, you know, I'm making a generalization now, but I know it's just a massive generalization they're saying, and they don't have any facts at their disposition. But if I start saying, how do you know, they'll think I'm challenging them as a person. So I'm very gentle when I try and get them to think about what they're saying. It's not a good idea in the workplace generally. Anyway, I digress a lot, because William Blake was a very spiritual man, and no doubt he meant it in terms of opinions, but he also meant it, probably the main reason for that saying was about the spiritual, in that when you assume that something is, it becomes so. Because Neville Goddard was really inspired by William Blake. He read a lot about him, and William Blake seemed to really understand that the imagination is God. And I like reading his quotes. I want to read more about him, but maybe now is not the right time. I don't feel that that's what I want to be getting into, but I really love his paintings so much and his words. So, what does it mean for us? What seems to be is for those for whom it seems to be. We need to assume more. We need to put our assumptions, our positive assumptions about our future life, our future concept of self, on our present day environment. So when we're looking at the world around us, we are seeing it from a different position, a different state, as though we're already the person we want to be. So we're doing it with everything. And I believe in that talk that I read, he was, it's just gone now, what was it? I can't remember, it's terrible when that happens. He was saying that the physical world is an assumptive world. How far is it an assumptive world? We are always assuming, always, even when we're not actively doing it. So we need to consciously do it when we're looking at objective reality. Oh, that's what I was going to say. He was saying something about keeping the attention on the focus, on the aim within, and allowing objective reality to almost disappear because you're living so strongly in the wish fulfilled, I suppose. So we could do that when objective reality is a bit hard to take, and be more strongly focused on where we want to be. But we can also be looking at objective reality and admiring it, but seeing it from a different perspective. So I'm looking around at this garden now, and I could be seeing it as, yes, I have a beautiful garden. Not that this is mine, but just this is like mine at home, and because I've made it, and so I live in a world of abundance. So yeah, turn your attention away from things that show your former state, the state that you think you are now, but you don't have to be, because you can be really living in your future state. But it has to come through in every aspect of your life, not just imagining in the morning and the evening scenes, but you need to do that too. Scenes that imply your desire is realized, and trying to carry around the feeling with you. But playing make-believe, but believing it to be true, in thinking of ideas that come from the future state, which is now the present state. For example, if you have money, what you're going to be doing with it, making plans in your head, and living in that joy that you have achieved what you want to, and giving thanks, always giving thanks to achieve that feeling of fulfillment, and be grateful, and it will increase your faith. You are going to be believing more and more that you're in the state you want to be. Now, I'm just thinking as well, because sometimes I really feel this stronger and stronger, but it can be very disappointing when you are faced with the results of what you've imagined before, like what's still your present day life, and it's in direct contrast to what seems to be far more exciting and fulfilling life that awaits you, but you can't see it yet. It's still in the imagination. So you have this contrast between what still is and what can be if you maintain your faith. And that can, that's what I find to sometimes be a bit depressing, because when the faith dies down a bit, and you just think, but it's not like that, and I've been imagining it so much, and it's not like that now, and it's going to just stay like this. But thankfully those moments are few and far between, and we just have to keep picking ourselves up, listening to Neville Goddard, reading Neville Goddard, and carrying on with it, believing that it is going to change. And this is a test. That's what I think anyway. I think I'm going to turn the camera away from myself now and just film a bit of the garden and keep talking a bit more. I hope that was useful to you. So yeah, put your assumptions on your objective world around you. And also you're assuming in the imagination. That's what I'm thinking. What do you think of that? Is that helpful at all? It's so lovely out here. I love the sunshine. So I will switch this off now and record the flowers. Hope you like it. So here is my parents' garden, and my dad is a very keen gardener, as you'll see. Puts me to shame because my garden needs a lot of work. It's really nice to sit out here, and The man next door seems to be doing a lot of mowing, so hopefully he won't hear me, but it doesn't matter anyway here. So Neville Goddard was saying, make your thoughts as vivid as nature. And so this seems to be a good place to look at nature and think about how we can make our thoughts as vivid as that. First of all, what strikes me is nature is so vibrant and colourful and full of life. It really focuses your mind when you look. It focuses my mind when I look at flowers and just the beauty of nature, and I'm in that present moment. So we need to give our thoughts, our imagination, that sensory vividness that we see in nature. Bring it alive with all that colour and take it into the present moment. And what else does he say? He says that we are to define our highest ideal and identify with it, because an assumption, if persisted in, will harden into fact. So we need to really identify with how we see ourselves to be all the time, from the beginning of the day to evening. Think, I am successful in whatever field you want to be, and walk as though you are. It was interesting to me what he was saying about seeing yourself changed in mental conversations. So you could fabricate that. I mean, you could. It's still good to do that, isn't it? As in, you're imagining people seeing you as the new concept of self. So you would be different, and maybe they would be holding you in higher esteem. It's not that they don't already, but impressed with whatever you've achieved. But it seems to me, the way Neville Goddard described it, it was going to happen naturally, and that was a good sign that you had truly changed how you see yourself, and that your state was different, because you appear different in the imagination. Not much here, so I'll keep going. Okay. So that shows me that we really need to be focused on the new mental concept of self. We need to imagine every day how we would like to be, and then walk in that. And then as we imagine, it will come through in conversations with others. And I wrote down a quote. I really like this blossom, very nice. I think I should get a blossom tree. And the daffodil, sign of spring, lovely. And I think it's quite reassuring for us all that at the end of that talk, Neville Goddard said that he hadn't completely mastered the control of his attention. So he didn't get it right 100% of the time. And the occasional person does seem to, not many, but there's the odd one I've come across, nobody on this channel of course, who insinuates that they get it right every time. But even Neville Goddard didn't, and he said that he didn't. So it's a hard thing to master. Not that we shouldn't try, but not to be discouraged if things aren't manifesting as you'd hoped, and just keep going with it. Because, I mean, you know, maybe some things don't manifest because they wouldn't be good for us. But then that implies that, it's not a straightforward rule, is it then? because this should work with anything, and that's what Neville Goddard said. So it's just, I suppose in the Bible it talks about God's will and having things aligned with his will for you in your life. So I think we all have our own specific talents and abilities that have been given to us, and you know, if we develop them, we can be a really big success. That's what I believe. So maybe some things wouldn't work out very well for us, but again, I remember Neville Goddard saying that he's made the good and the bad, and we have to be very careful what we imagine, because it could work out quite badly for us. What was it? For the day of trouble. Yeah. So anything is possible. I'm just getting it all wrong now, aren't I? Sorry about that. I'll just read the one quote that Neville Goddard said at the end. This one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind, and reaching forth unto those things which are before, I press towards the mark for the prize. And that's from Philippians in the Bible, chapter 3, said by Paul. And one thing I really noticed about that is he says, forgetting those things which are behind, objective reality, and reaching forth unto those things which are before. So these things are before. They can only be before in the human imagination. So it sounds like he is knowing how to focus the imagination and bring things into objective reality. I press towards the mark for the prize. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful to you, and let me know what your thoughts are. As always, I always enjoy reading them. I don't know if I said anything worth saying there, but hopefully something. It's such a nice day there. I really like being out here. So take care, everybody, and hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.